already know who it is. I'm asharenu. We back in here once again. Make sure everything is good. And we're gonna get this shit started. All right. Today we're gonna talk about the purification of noon, water magic. So let's get into it. What's up, Moon Spirit? What's the deal? What's the deal? Make sure these angles is right. You already know. Hopefully everybody's out there good. We're gonna get started in just a second. Get started in just 1 second. What's up, CV1, how do you say that? What's up, Brianna? What's up, Sharon? What's up, student teacher? What's the deal? What's the deal, everybody? We just let the intro play out. We'll get started in just 1 second. Let everybody come in. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We just cruise. Cruise. What's up, Marvin the Master? What's the deal, everybody? Let's turn this down. So what's the deal? Hopefully everybody is good out there. You already know who it is. I'm asharenu. We back in here once again. Today we're going to be talking about the purification of noon, water magic. Alright, so let's get straight into it. Of course, we got some tarot cards that illustrate the point. So let me adjust the camera and we can get straight into it. Give me 1 second, let me adjust this properly. There we go. So just like yesterday, we dealt with the fire element. So today we're going to be dealing with the water element. So the cards we're going to be dealing with here, as we see first, is the Hangman. Which represent pure water. So let me give you a better illustration. Whenever we're dealing with purification of water, it starts with the hangman. Right? Let me turn this music off. Whenever we're dealing with water, we're dealing with the hangman. This is the being that is making the sacrifice. He is placing himself in an inverted position. Giving you one of the keys to spirituality. It is through his inversion, it is through his sacrifice that he opens up a portal to the other world. Through sacrifice. So this is already allowing us to know that if we want to open up these portals to the underworld, if we want to unlock these psychic abilities, if we want to do anything spiritually related, everything comes at a cost. And the particular cost to go into the purification of noon, the element of water, is the sacrifice of self. You see, this being has no clothes on, hanging upside down, has literally completely given up all things physical, and has fully dedicated themselves to their spirituality, their ascension. Now there's multiple levels on this card. You know, all the way into the shape where he has his hands extended as well as his legs crossed, which represents, although he is making this sacrifice, he is still consciously aware, meaning he is doing this for a purpose. So he's not doing it just for the sake of doing it. He has his spiritual purpose outlined, and therefore he understands the sacrifice needed in order for him to not only open up these portals, but maintain these portals. We also see that his foot hangs from an arc that's gaining its power source from the sun. And we know, the Egyptians had a particular, idea about the sun and its connection with Sirius, so on and so forth. So that makes that significant in that regard. The sun reflecting the light of Sirius being channeled down into the Ankh. So it's the Ankh that keeps him in his position. So although he is making that grand sacrifice, he is doing it consciously, keeping himself rooted with the light of Sirius, as well as mastery over the body, as above, so below, and therefore the portal was open to him. He is able to open and maintain the portal for his physical and spiritual sacrifice, but still retaining his consciousness. As I say, even though we sleep 8 hours a day, that's 8 hours we can be in the dream world getting things done instead of at a complete loss of consciousness. So this is the being who, although who is making this sacrifice, is utilizing his time and opening up these portals for spiritual reasons, to be able to gain deeper insights and mysteries about themselves. So therefore, at the sacrifice of all things, this person is truly, or this being is truly gaining the one thing that you cannot buy, right? The physical world is all about money, but once we deal with the element of water is talking about the things that can't be bought, the experience itself, because it is only through the sacrifice that the portal can be open and maintained, and you have to be rooted in the light of the sun, or the light of Sirius, by being an alchemist, consciously aware of your spiritual journey process. You see the beginning, middle, and end. Now, when we take it to the planetary energies, the first energy we're going to deal with is the energy of the moon. As we see here, illustrated through the priestess. She represents the energies of the moon. So let me give you a close-up. This represents the Holy Mother, the Virgin Mary. Energy in its purest form. Lunar energy in its purest form. So the whole purpose of the hangman making the sacrifice is to have that connection with the priestess. You can say this is his inner self that has a intelligence of its own. We could say our higher self, right? Your higher self has an intelligence of its own beyond our everyday human experience. So you can say this is the contact the hangman is trying to make is with the purest aspects of himself. The purest aspects of himself represents the priestess, which is a symbol of infinite divine wisdom. So as we see, she represents brilliance, the brilliance of light, the divine nature of the eternal self. So the portals that he's opening up, this is what he is seeking. He is seeking the connection with the higher self, the purest aspects of self. Once he established the connection with the purest aspects of himself, what he gains is that weapon or that instrument that you see on her lap. The same instrument can be used as a weapon. The same weapon can be used as an instrument, depending on the level of one's consciousness. So the hangman becomes, or rather transcends, duality. He no longer looks as the harp as an instrument or a bow, the hunting bow as a weapon. They are simultaneously one and the same. This is the purest aspect of self. You see the woman seated on a throne, representing a passive, submissive energy, a receptive energy that is receptive to the cycles and the currents of what we call the universe, which are the greater cycles that affects us on a spiritual level and a human level, a celestial level and a terrestrial level. Now, when we take it into the zodiac, because this is the purest aspect of self. However, this purest aspect can be broken down further into zodiac signs, which are the water elements, which we want to get into in just a second. So just to reiterate, the hangman is making the ultimate physical sacrifice. The ultimate physical sacrifice. Hold on, I have it upside down. There we go. The hangman is making the ultimate physical sacrifice in order to open up those spiritual portals, to have a connection with his holy guardian angel or his higher self. Once he develops a relationship with the higher self, he realized that the higher self has three components to its makeup. It is composed of three components. What are the three components that the higher self is composed of? Let's explore the zodiac. And the first zodiac, of course, as we see here, is Scorpio, which represents the energy of death. Why does Scorpio represent death? Let me give you a close-up. Why does Scorpio represent death? Because Scorpio also represents life. Because life and death cannot be separated. Life and death cannot be separated. Therefore, they are one and the same. So although you see death and decay in this picture, you also see the birth and the giving of new life. You see the skeleton, but you also see the rising of the spirits. You see the skeleton, but you also see the rising of the spirits. You see the fish, but you also see the serpent. And you also see the scorpion, right? So it is composed of many different elements and ideas So death takes you into the secrets of life. And when you go into the secrets of life, you are able to essentially transcend death, or basically be that skeleton with a crown. Basically, we already know, whenever we're dealing with the skulls, we're dealing with the retention of memory beyond death. Being able to retain your memory. Therefore, the ascension process is within your control, within the grasp of your hand, versus you being subjected to a force beyond yourself. So death also takes you into the secrets of life. Next, this takes us to the degree of Capricorn, it's not Capricorn, Cancer, which represents the Chariot. The second degree of the Holy Guardian Angel is the Chariot. Now we see that that divine light, that purity, has now been shielded with armor, right? That purity that we saw in the priestess has now been shielded with armor. This armored being is moving in a chariot in between the worlds. As you see the edges, he represents a portal. He is moving, as we call, with the Merkaba, the spaceship. He is traveling with the spaceship, and he is holding at his sacral chakra level another portal, which represents the creative sexual force. That's what's allowing the chariot to be moved. So the inner force is navigating and animating the outer force, right? We also see it also brings the idea of contrast. Being able to merge the contrast. The merging of the contrast, the light and the dark, is able to stir the sexual creative fluids. Through the mixing of the contrast, that creativity is allowed to manifest in earthly ideals, which allows us to navigate through the Merkaba, or navigate with the Merkaba through various dimensions at our leisure, right? So let me give you a close-up, just so you can see the various dimensions of the card. So this level represents the purification that is found through the ability to travel with your spaceship, as we call our astral body, our etheric self. We are now granted the ability of etheric soul travel. And through the merging of the contrast, it is able to animate us and stimulate our creativity and sexuality in order for us to transcend. So the brilliance of that light that we saw in the priestess has now been shielded in armor, because the light is too brilliant. It is now being concentrated in the sacral chakra. The brilliance of that light from the priestess is now being concentrated in the sacral chakra area. And that's what navigates and moves the Merkaba, manifesting all jewels of the earth. Lastly, we go into the degree of Pisces, which represents the moon. Now it's called the moon, but we see that this is a symbol of Pisces. The third and final degree of the higher self is the moon. Now we see that this is further going into the idea of contrast that was just being expressed to us in the Chariot card. this is going further into the idea of merging together the contrast. We see that it is a pair of hands pulling down the sun. The sun is being pulled down underneath the earth. So therefore, the only thing that's left is illusion. That's why we see the god Anubis. We see dogs at the entrance of the gateway. We see nothing but lunacy. Our fears are manifested physically, the physical manifestations of fears. This is why we understand that we must face all of our fears, because there will be a time when those hands, the higher cycles, will descend the sun beneath the earth, therefore leaving you with nothing but illusion. And the only thing that's going to help you navigate through it, excuse me, the only thing that's going to give you clear sight in these lunar realms is your ability to have that second sight, that astral sight. Your etheric body must be in place, because these are the places that you journey. You journey into very dark and deep places. So although the chariot, remember, is a being filled with light, shielded in armor, these are the places that that being explores. That being explores those dark lunar realms because it has been purified. I'm sorry. It has been purified. Therefore, it has conquered fear. And in its deepest night, it can find light hidden in the underworlds of the earth. There we go. So let's go through this one more time. So we're going to start from the bottom. The hangman. Being rooted with the light of Sirius, with martial arts, the alchemical arts physically, so he can maintain his consciousness. Although he is hanging upside down, the position he places himself in allows him to maintain his consciousness, although he is inverted. It allows him to maintain his consciousness. Therefore, he can open up portals and direct his consciousness beyond the physical plane. That leads into the high priestess. Once he directs his consciousness beyond the physical planes, he establishes that connection with his higher self. Once he establishes that connection with his holy guardian angel, he realizes that the holy guardian angel has three components. The three components start with Scorpio, which teaches the principle of transcendence of death, maintaining your memory beyond death so that you never die, right? Maintaining your memory after death so that you never die. That leads into the principle of the chariot. What are you doing once you transcend death? You have built yourself an etheric or astral body in order to, what is the purpose of maintaining your consciousness? The purpose of maintaining your consciousness is so you can travel beyond the physical plane in your astral body, in your etheric body, and maintain consciousness. That divine light has now gained armor and has concentrated that divine light in the sacral chakra area, the creative sexual force, and that's how he is able to animate the physical plane. Being able to merge together the contrast. This takes us to the energy of the moon, deeper into the energy of the contrast. The contrast is when the sun goes underneath the earth and the only thing that's left is the lunar realms. And because you have built yourself an etheric body, an astral body, you're able to navigate. Even though these things are super scary, being able to see this in real life will be quite an amazing experience. In terms of, if you had an astral projection and you took yourself to Egypt in its prime, you saw it would be a mind-blowing experience. So imagine going there at 3 a.m. in the morning and you're all alone and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You would be scared out of your mind. Like, to be in Egypt at 3 a.m. and you're seeing all this stuff, you would be, you would go crazy if you didn't understand how to maintain your fear and how to transmute that energy. through the sacral chakra so that you can navigate the darkest of the darkest of the dark of the realms, and being able to maintain your light although you journey through dark planes. So there we go. So I'll give you one final look at the process. And unless anyone has any questions, we can check up on, we can check up out. So hopefully now the symbolism of these cards makes sense to you, which is why it's necessary, to study tools like the tarot to be able to see the multidimensional nature present within the tarot and make it one science to be able to see various dimensions of reality. All right. So we're gonna give everybody a shout out, and we're gonna check up. Check. Why am I saying check up? I don't know. Thinking about medical terms. So what's up, Dizzy? Put your camera back up. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's see where we at. What's up, the Iron? What's up, Golden Appeal? What's up, Dragon OG? Let's see, what's up, New Noise? What's up, Hippie Witch? What's up, Big Papa? And what's up, Student Teacher? If I didn't already shout you out. Yeah, I think I shouted you out. So, unless anybody has any questions, we can dip. I think I illustrated the purpose pretty clear. So whenever we're dealing with the element of water, we can keep these ideals in mind so we can see the various dimensions within the water element. So when we think about the water element, when we think about the fire element, we realize that the elements just represent ideas, and there are various sub-elements or the various components that make up ideals. It can be 6 to 10 ideas, just as an example, that makes up an ideal. An ideal can be composed of 6 to 10 ideas. So there are elements, then there are sub-elements. So when we think about the water element or any element, we realize that there's various hidden dimensions within these elements to help us understand the vastness of spirit and soul. We see that spirit and soul is so vast. Most people are not spiritual and doing these spiritual things because it is scary. It creates fear. Fear is rooted in why we don't see this happening on a larger scale. And that's the way it's supposed to be, again, because it's only for those who are able to be courageous, who are able to self-initiate themselves, who are able to take the inner journeys alone by themselves in the absolute dark and be able to maintain and seek out new levels of mysteries in life. This is what we're here to do. So this is why we are able to essentially transform and have a shift of consciousness so that we can better navigate the physical plane in all dimensions and be simultaneous as above, so below. Having that connection with the holy guardian angel. Being able to walk with God, as they say, right? To be one with the Creator. These are our metaphors for establishing that connection. You can say the sun. We are on the root level. We are on the earthly level. We are on Saturn, you can say physically. So you can say to reach your crown, that's your holy guardian angel. That's the purest aspect of yourself. Right? So, this is, everything is a metaphor for something greater or something beyond. You know what I mean? So we can take metaphors literally, but we can also, look at them from a multi-dimensional scale. Right? So there we go. We're gonna check out. Salute everybody. Y'all take it easy. We'll be right back to y'all tomorrow. Peace.